Hey guys, today I'm going to show you some nades and smokes on overpass. So to molly off short, you want to come up to this B, aim at about this faint line right there, and in between this pole and this tower right there. So right about there, take a few steps and release. If you don't like that lineup and you want to use a different one, you can throw kind of just a jump throw one. So you want to kind of get this tower and this thing right there, aim it at the bottom left of the B, run forward, and when you get to about the end of this shadow right here, you're going to want to jump throw, aim it at the bottom of the B. So in full motion, it's going to look like this. When you throw this molly, you don't have to be perfectly lined up with that, and you don't have to be perfectly at the end of the shadow, but it should be roughly kind of like that. If you want to smoke off heaven from outside of B, you're going to want to come to the left side of this wall right here. You're going to want to aim at above this plank right here in the exact center and up to this this bar thing right here. So right about there. It's a run and jump throw, and you're going to want to release when you get around past the shadow. So aim there and release now. Depending on how you throw it, it might land like that, or it might come bounce off this door and land a little bit deeper. But either way, there shouldn't be really any gaps. If you want to smoke off mid-sight from outside B, you can come up and put yourself in this corner right here and aim at the top of this antenna. Another way to smoke off mid-sight is to jump up on top of the barrel and aim at this light thing right here and left leg throw. They both land in the exact same position. With the smoke that lands mid-sight right here, you can also throw a bridge smoke by aiming to the top of the antenna, a little bit left and a little bit up, and left leg throw. You can throw those at the exact same time. If you don't like this bridge smoke right here, you can come to the plat back here, put yourself in the corner back here, and if you see where the antenna becomes big to small, you aim where that happens and a little bit to the right. So right about there, and left leg throw. This one's more precise and it takes a little bit longer to land, but that is another way to smoke off bridge. If you want to molly toxic barrels on a B push, you're going to want to come over to the stairs, kind of come to the right side of it, not all the way to the right, but a little bit to the right. Start pre-aiming up here, and as you get to about here, you're going to want to start walking, and you're going to want to aim above this pillar thing right here, and I release when my crosshair is right about here, so it's going to look like this. Like that. This molly just takes practice, and it's kind of a feel molly, so there's no exact lineup, and you're gonna have to just go into the server and practice it. If you're taking short control, some good flashes that you can throw are just right around here. There's no exact ones that you can really throw. I mean, there probably are, but I don't throw any exact ones. But just make sure when you're throwing them, they land kind of behind your teammates, so they can swing, and anybody in short will be blind, right? Another good smoke is if you're in monster and you don't want to run back to there to smoke off bridge, you can come over into this corner, aim at this pillar right here and slightly up, right about there, and left leg throw. Now with the smoke and all bridge smokes, there's going to be a gap here, so you just have to watch out for that. If you want to throw some more supporting flashes over, you can throw some of these. They won't blind your teammates as long as they're looking this direction and trying to fight sight. You can also throw some of these. You come onto the railing or onto the stairs. And what I do is I kind of aim to the left side of this tower, and I take a few steps and I release, trying to make sure they get behind the pillar, because they don't blind your teammates as you come out, and they will blind anybody on site. Now this flash will blind anybody coming out of short or construction or whatever you call it. And so yeah, you have to be careful of that. If you've made it into short, water, or construction, whatever you guys call this, and you want to smoke off heaven, you can come to the left side of this B sign, put yourself in the corner, and aim in the center of this triangle right here. So right there, and left click throw. Right after that smoke, if you want to molly toxic barrels, you can just jump straight up onto this railing. I aim up from this corner, right about there. I take a few steps and I release. If you don't want to molly that, but instead you want to molly pit, you can once again jump up onto the railing, and instead of aiming at the corner, I aim above the wood, right about there. I take a few steps and I release. This mollies off anybody who wants to hold this angle or anybody who wants to swing up and peek. If you're going connector, there's honestly not too much detail you can use. I guess you can throw a molly like that to allow yourself to get up without worrying about anybody having to push up or swing. So if you want to use that, you can. There's a flash that a lot of people know. You can just come up into this corner right here, crouch, and aim right about here, and left click throw. It pops out of the window, and as that happens, you can open the door. This isn't really needed, but if you want to use it, you can. If you're rotating down from A, for instance, or you're coming out connector and you want to smoke heaven, you can come up to the right side of the door, aim at the tip of this this electrical pole, and left click throw. It should smoke heaven. Once again, that's not needed, but if you do want to use it, you can. So if you're going A and you want to get out mid, a really good bathroom smoke and fast one is you can come up to the right side railing, put yourself into it, and there's shadows. There's this big V right here, this big shadow, and I go one over to the left right here, and I aim at the very bottom. So if you look at it with a normal crosshair, there's the big V. I go one over to the left, and that's the bottom of the shadow. I am there, and it's a jump throw, but you're also gonna have to hit W when you or forward when you hit your jump throw bind. So like this. If you hold W while you or before you throw it, it's not gonna land properly, and yeah. If you don't like that smoke, you can put yourself into this corner right here with the slide, and you can aim at the bottom of the antenna right around there, and left click throw. It lands basically in the exact same position. And yeah, if you're in connector and you want to try to get out, a good flash is just one of these. It pops right here, blinding anybody over there. And yeah, if you want to smoke off dumpster, a good way to do this is to jump onto the bench, into the center of the bench, stand up and look at the woman's head, and just left click throw. If you want to smoke off truck, you can put yourself in this corner right here, crouch and aim at the man's head, and then stay crouched and left click throw. If you want to smoke off the left side of truck, right here, you come up to this line right here, behind the bench. You crouch and you aim right here in between where the two ends of the C's meet, and I aim a little bit to the right of it, right there. I stand up and I left click throw. If you want to smoke off left side sight right here, you come put yourself up against this back wall right here. You want to line this lamp up with the second T and TTK, and you're going to want to aim at the straight part of the K and right there. So I am right there. So right about there and jump throw. If you want to smoke off bank from mid, although I don't really recommend it, I think you should just molly it. You can come up to the bottom step, or I just aim it, look for the black dot right here. I aim to around the bottom right of this light right there and jump throw. Depending on how you throw it, there will most likely be a gap in the right side, or there will be a gap on the left side. Bank smokes are a little fidgety, so I don't really know. If you're mid and you want to throw a molly for behind dice right here, you can come up to the left side of the door frame for divider, and there's kind of an elongated block shape right there. I aim to the right side of it and jump throw. Along with this molly, you in the exact same position, you can throw some supporting flashes over for your teammates. And what I do is I kind of aim at this kind of line. You can kind of see a line there. You can really aim anywhere, but I mostly aim where the darker part hits the lighter part. And then you jump throw. You can also aim a little bit lower and it'll bounce off the roof. And it will land a little bit closer. So you can either throw that one or that one. And either way, your teammates around here won't get blind. But if it bounces off the roof, it lands a little bit closer, not blinding your teammates and blinding almost everybody in sight, right? If you're long and you want to throw some of these smokes, a way to smoke off headshot or dumpster is you put yourself in this corner. You aim at the bottom side of this arrow right there, and you jump throw. When throwing the smoke and all these smokes, you have to be careful about someone peeking you long, so yeah. To smoke off bank from long, the one that I know is you come into this corner right here next to the door and pillar, and you aim at the top of the A and bank. And for me, it's about a crosshair's length, so right around there, and I left click throw. If you want to smoke off left side sight right here, you come up to this lamp right here. I come up to the shadow, the bottom left side of the bottom of these two things, and right about there. And I aim at the top of this sphere and left click throw. If you want to molly truck or this corner, you come up to this pillar right here. And depending on how you want to molly or what you want to molly, whether you want to molly a little bit more behind the truck or a little bit more in the corner, you can throw a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So I'm going to molly more in the corner. So you aim right about at this corner right here, take a few steps and left click throw. Now for CT side, if you're playing A and you want to molly T stairs over here, I come through mid. I aim below this little thing right there, about in between the ground and this right there, so right about there. I run and jump throw. I release when I get past the first bit of the bench right there. So it's gonna look like this. A self pop flash that you can use if you're plugging or something is you can come into this corner right here next to long. You can crouch and you can aim on the right side of this thing right here and just left click throw. And it should pop. You might be able to get an easy kill. If you're playing A and it turns out to be B, you can throw some supporting flashes like this. They pop behind your teammates and blind basically anybody coming out of monster, right there, or basically anybody short depending on how far you throw them, so they can land behind the pillar or like there. To smoke off monster early, you can come into this dumpster right here. You can crouch and you can aim at the bottom. I aim right here basically, and I stay crouched right about there and I jump throw. A useful molly for the B players is if you're trying to get like short control or just keep them from going into short early, is if you're coming down through graffiti, you can come up to this door right here. And if you count the balconies, there's 1, 2. I am at the second one and to the far left right here. And I just chuck a smoke or a molly. You can also use a smoke for this, and it does pop relatively quickly. Let me get rid of the molly. and it pops relatively quickly compared to other ones. A good flash from Monster, if you're trying to support or like whatever, you can come up to basically the end of this thing right here. And what I do is I aim at the height of this and to this metal beam right there, and I left click throw. Pops right there, blinding anybody in Monster. So if you're the Heaven player, I recommend you hold a flash for the first like few seconds that you get there. And if your teammates call a rush, you aim right about here and you hold shift, you take a few steps and you left click throw. This should blind anybody coming out of Monster, and your Monster player could potentially fight or just fall off, and yeah. Something that I see, if you're playing Monster, something that I see Monster players do, instead of running Heaven, they run down through here, which isn't as fast. So instead you should come Heaven, jump into the water so you don't take damage, and instead of throwing a molly into the pipe, like that, where it can bounce and they can get past it, I recommend just throwing a molly right at the entrance and it pops instantly. If you're down on B and your teammate is in short and they want to peek this pipe and they ask for a flash, a good flash that you can use is I kind of come into the center of this railing right here and I aim at this right around there. It should blind anybody holding this or walking up, right? And your teammate could get an easy kill. If you're playing B and it turns out to be A, some flashes you can throw are some of those. You can throw flashes like that. They pop behind your teammates. Oh, that was really unlucky because it hit the that right there. But typically they don't. Either way, that still blinds anybody over here and stuff, right? But typically they land around here. Anybody coming up is blind, and your teammates who are fighting them will potentially get easy kills. You can also throw flashes over mid. These can blind your teammates, so you just have to communicate, telling them like, "Hey, I'm flashing mid, flashing in front of you, right?" And they should blind the enemies if they're coming up and stuff, right? All right, so that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching and peace.